What's the time? I could look at my phone, but Big Ben is more impressive. It's London's most famous clock, and the biggest clock in the country. But it's not the most important. To find that, we have to go east, down the River Thames, to Greenwich. The Royal Observatory in Greenwich stands on the Prime Meridian of the world, or 0 degrees longitude to you and me. What does that mean? Well, you know how the equator divides north and south. Every place on the planet is measured east or west of the Prime Meridian. So here, I'm standing in the Eastern Hemisphere. Here, I'm in the West. And here, I have my feet in both halves of the world. This clock, the Shepherd clock, shows Greenwich Mean Time, or GMT, and every time zone on Earth was measured from this time. So how did Greenwich become so important? To find out, we have to go back in time. In the old days, time was local. Midday was when the sun was at its highest point in the sky. So when it was midday in town A, it was 10 to 12 in town B, in the west. But the time difference didn't matter because people travelled slowly. They just looked at the town clock and changed the time on their watches. It was the same story at sea. When you travelled from London to China at an average speed of about 25 kilometers per hour, local time differences weren't a problem. But everything changed in the 1850s and 60s because that was the age of the train. And trains were a lot faster. So because the time in Manchester was different from the time in London, it made meeting for an appointment very difficult. In the USA, the situation was even worse because the distances and time differences were much greater. So in 1884, 25 countries got together in Washington, D.C. They divided the world into 24 time zones, with an hour's difference between each one. And everyone in each time zone set their clocks to the same time. They chose Greenwich to be the centre of world time. So Greenwich became the starting point of each new day. GMT ruled the world. And the time now is precisely 1 o'clock.